Are you ready? Ready to rumble? Ready to show the world what you're able to do when the cards are down? Why do you sound like such a nerd, Haskell? There's the code for you. Although, to be fair, with one button out of commission, I wonder how much space they actually have to work with. Oh, you can actually hold the button. How darling. Now, we are unfortunately not quite there yet. We have to get a very, very annoying secret. The actual secret allows you to get quite a bit of armor. It allows you to get full maximum armor in return for some health, which is a pretty good trade, all things considered. The downside is this jump requires some effort, and it takes a bit of health, and you might not have that. Oh no. Of course, due to the specifics on how the build engine works, they are actually separate rooms. It is, I'll give it this much. It's quite the daring approach to things. Now, you might think, I'm just wasting time and energy. Dear, I'm a professional. I'm not wasting anything. This is all very intentional. Persistence, after all, is key, as is patience, no? A person who is patient is given something for their efforts at the very least. You get a full, heavy armor, and on top of that, enough armor shards to bring you all the way to full, and perhaps even beyond. I don't know if it's possible to get here without full armor. I guess you blow yourself up. What kind of effort would that be? 47 armor fragments and counting. It might easily be 100. But you only really need the 49, since you can only go 49 over whatever your armor maximum is. I think Haskell wanted to have a little chat, but unfortunately it seems that someone had significantly damaged the local systems. What a shame, Haskell. That door goes the same place that this higher ledge will take us. We'll take the fancy route for today. That's just what I'm feeling like. I appreciate it's both honest and very forward about the circumstances. There may not be any secrets. This isn't fun. What this is a rematch in an environment that very much favors you. And because they start in separate locations, this really fails to live up to the expectations. That guy is more dangerous than the actual final boss. Which I wouldn't call very encouraging as a compliment. And like I said, the grenades from this fine grenade launcher will get the job done just right. Don't worry. Use the ammo you don't want now. You're going to get full refill before the final fight anyway. In fact, get a little practice in. Try some harder shots. Dare yourself to dream bigger. And that is it. The warm-up fight. Is warm-up fight even fair? It really just feels like something to make you think it's going to be easier than it is. If you need it, some additional supplies up topside. Although, as you might have noticed, I barely used anything that it supplies. It expects that fight to be significantly more dynamic than you ultimately end up playing it. Why play it the hard way when you can do things the easy way? After all,
I'm afraid it's going to take more than a glorified meter maid to shut down this operation.
really? Will it take more? Because so far I've done far better than any of your troops, Haskell. I don't want to hear a word from your snooty, bratty mouth. The wall doesn't hurt you, which is a nice policy to have, since it's not really a threat or anything. I do appreciate the callback to the moon base, where they definitely use this. I almost feel tempted to play Duke Nukem again.
Despite your accolades, Miles has
Insubordination, yes, I'm very aware of my marks of insubordination, Haskell. I don't need you to remind me of that. Oh, this one's going to be quite the charmer. I hope you're ready for quite the fight, because this is not going to be nice or easy.
bridges are meant for burning.
I'm sorry, that is how powerful? That is way beyond what I expected that to be able to do. Once more, the environment is highly destructible. I didn't know you could do that. How adorable. What a sweet little child. Do be careful. Those bombardments are what will kill the average person. I'll be honest, I don't know what his deal is. Whatever it is, it sure wasn't worth it. And that is, by far, the hardest fight before we deal with the final boss. Surprisingly, that is indeed the hardest fight. On higher difficulties, there can be up to 4 of these fine gentlemen here to greet you, so do be careful. Use that power pack whenever you need it the most. There's no reason to be cheap this far in. I appreciate a chemical floor that doesn't instantly kill me when I stand on top of it for once. And the floor that doesn't collapse. Oh, what a refined set of flooring. And look at all that goo! Don't forget to call for help, dears.
Turn back now. You haven't the faintest clue what you stumbled
I'll be honest, of all the threats I've received in my lifetime, that has got to be one of the more unique ones.
This is usually where the villain delivers a predictable monologue. Alas, all I have to deliver to you is annihilation, extinction, dissolution. You've really put a damper on my day, Sherry. And now your short time on this world comes to an end. Take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, was it all worth it? Try it again, Sam.
This is by far one of the best boss fights in the game for one simple reason. It is nothing short of just fighting the finest men Heskel has to offer. Wrong one. It is a large arena fight with finite enemies, and the whole goal is to make all of these resources last for the entire fight, and it is quite the fight. So, maybe you should consider writing out a little investment form. Never killed anyone before. Anytime you can save yourself a little bit of ammo using a delightful rolling bomb is a good time. Because rolling bombs come in infinite supplies and everything else is finite. As I mentioned, the enemies are entirely finite. Or at the very least, their respawn timer is on a very high limit. It might be worth it to clean out every round. I just think it's fun to do. As you can see, there's a death laser down there, just to make sure that you don't get too cocky with your attitude. Now, I haven't even begun to explain what you're supposed to be doing with Heskel. As in, how do you win this fight? What's the win condition looking like? Dear, it's as simple as it gets. Ah, that one's not accessible, is it? Step number 1. Get yourself a lot of rolling bombs. Go over here, step inside, and have a look. Heskel is down there having a fun time. Just like we're about to have a very fun time.
Someone wants to play.
Once you've done sufficient damage, he'll blast you away, sending in a new wave. Again,
Trying to do here, Shelly. Bore me to death. What does this one do? It's every man's dream. A little dome on command.
I strongly recommend that you find yourself back up on high ground when this is over. Being down there is a death sentence. Or close to one, at least. Imagine being down there avoiding a death laser while that's going on. I wouldn't want to deal with it. Hell, I barely want to deal with that guy. He's not that much of a threat. Luckily, the bowling bombs are mostly harmless to you. If you're trying to get 100% kills, I think all enemies die at the end as usual, but if you insist on being careful, do note the spiders. They'll muck up your numbers as easily as anything else. Luckily, with an infinite supply of bowling bombs, you can easily just go and toss them around. This is by far the best argument this game makes for the bowling bombs. It's just fun to do. The other weapons have their benefits, of course. They're easier to aim, easier to use. Less of a hassle and a headache. But we are approaching the end of the game, and as I actually like this boss fight and think that it is a great way to end this game by just letting you go hog wild, I should also voice my complete opinions on this experience. It has been amazing. I rather like it. I was negative at first, similar to how I was negative with Duke Nukem. It really is an experience that doesn't pick up until it picks up, and once it does, it's fine, but it's a hard sell on the first playthrough. It is very hard to tell someone to play something that only gets good when you've beaten it once. Admittedly, back in the 90s and everything, that probably was a perfectly fine sales pitch.
You're making a terrible mistake, Shelly. Mistakes are costly, and someone must pay.
Oh my, there's another one of those. I mean, you can go down there if you want. I just can't fathom a good reason to. As you can see, the platform in the down arena changes slightly. Which I guess is if you're doing a speed run. I imagine that it's actually a very good tactic to just exploit the terrain as much as... Yeah, it likes to sit on people's heads. I don't know why. I guess it's like a cat. I wouldn't recommend rushing too much, however. The enemies can and will climb up on the dome, making your life a lot harder if you decide to be a little too aggressive about things. And with that, we are down to just Mr. Heskell. Let's find ourselves a nice access way. I still don't know how to get that high jump to work. Although I will agree the Terror Dome is quite bitching. Bitchin'. How is it said again? While it is a fun fight, it is unfortunately also quite a boring fight since you're not encouraged to actually get into the thick of things. And it's easy enough to jump off of that into the safe zone. So there's really no actual risk with this. It's easy enough to try and easy enough to do if you just give it a little bit of a gumption. The old elbow grease, as they say. Well then, shall we give it another go? I think I'm more than ready for one. I wonder what makes the bombs explode, given...
Those superiors aren't going to be impressed when the extent of your damage to their surface soldier program is revealed.
I'm pretty sure they didn't commission the death of many of their soldiers either. But who am I to speak? Who am I to say such things? I don't know anything about any of that. Oh, Heskel, darling, it's just you and me. I hope you weren't expecting me to show up in a fine little black dress, because all I've got to bring you is a little black ball. Blue ball, actually. Is that a joke about blue balling him? I guess it would make perfect sense. Nerds have been defeated by the dryness of their sex life before, as ostensibly depressing as that is. Oh well. Of all phases, that might be the one that actually gets you, or does you in, as they like to say. As ever, the Iron Bow does not disappoint, and delivers on all fronts. Oh my. Where are you, dear? I think he's stuck. Yeah, I think he's stuck in the delivery system. I think he needs a hand. Let's see if we can help him out there. I don't feel like I'm supposed to be there, but at the same time, nothing complained that I was. So we're just going to assume that that's perfectly legal. That was one hell of a jump. I wonder why he's trying to impress me with my superiors. Like, I went into the GDF, they're all dead. So it's not like there's any superiors to complain. And with that, we have finished the game. And that was Ion Fury. What a delightful little game. After I beat it once, the first time was awful. Just like with Duke Nukem, it really was a matter of once I knew the levels and I knew the weapons a little bit, things were better, but not the kind of difficulty curve. It's a difficulty curve where I appreciate the game's finer settings once I've already been through it once, and I know what to expect, which is not a good difficulty curve. In games like Doom, I got used to it faster. In a Medieval, I got used to it faster. I was proficient before I was dealing with the final boss instead of proficient after I'd beaten the game already. The Maximum Fury playthrough is still ongoing, but you'll have to deal with that chatty little boy if you want to deal with that one. My opinion? I will say this much. Whereas Duke Nukem has a lot of weapons that serve no immediate purpose, like it really does start to narrow down to the shotgun and the Ripper for the most part, and the rocket launcher, and to an extent, and maybe the Devastator. In this, all weapons have some purpose, and they can be used for general application all over the place. It's not like the freeze ray, where you have to worry yourself about all kinds of nitty-picky details. You can just have fun. And for that, I will give it many points. The level design is great. My biggest problem, again, you only really get to enjoy it once you've beaten it. Kind of like Bayonetta, I guess. But more importantly, it's dark. The part that makes me actually say that this game is bad is that it's too dark. It is way too dark. You have no idea how dark this game is. It is so consistently dark. It is impossible to deal with. I need to pull my blinds down, set the screen brightness to a maximum, and only then can I see what's going on in the game. It's so dark that it has graphical errors in the black areas. And more interesting... No kiss? If you get 100% on everything, she gives you a kiss. It's quite adorable. Yes, it's too dark. The darkness kills it. It actually kills it. Because if I set the gamma up, it gets all glitchy and fiddly the minute I click outside the screen. This is not a game that is playable in its current state on that basis alone. And again, her art is very shifty as to what's good and what's not. I don't get it. We'll continue that one later, and we'll do some kind of cheat some point, because I do want to see all the extra little babies. Oh yes, I can show you the kiss, I guess. This is my playthrough on Ultra Viscera, the higher difficulty mode. I've beaten this game twice on normal, once on this, once on easy, I think. Did I do the easy? No, the easy one I started. I never finished it. I beat a couple of levels on easy one more time in order to find the mega secrets. And then I decided I might as well go for 100%. Oh, I'm just invincible, I guess. That's no way to greet a lady, Haskell. That's no way to greet a lady. I really do appreciate that. We get a nice kiss on the cheek. And more importantly, beautiful brutality and simply amazing. I always like it when they're like, oh, you did such a good job. And then it's like, well, how did you do that? How did you get all the secrets and the secret level and the mega secrets? The mega secrets don't count for 100%, I think. They're just like a side element. And neither does the secret level because it only counts secrets and kills for levels you visited. What I want, if they're going to make another level pack, and considering how everything is laid out with capital offense, they might. I want one with more secret levels and a bit more emphasis on that. Just a bit more, and also more brightness. Like, the darkness doesn't really help this game at all. At all. It's awful. I don't like dealing with it. It strains my eyes and it's unpleasant. It is by far the biggest mark I have against this game. Other than, like, I can sort of appreciate that none of the weapons none of the explosive weapons are good for aerial fights, but still. This game could use a bit of work, but it is still great. I might just play Duke Nukem again just to see its roots in its fullest glory and wonder... I just want to say that being polite and apologizing for things that you've said is free. And honestly, I don't think this is the kind of hill worth dying on in the grand scheme of things. Just saying that at some point, you're losing very little and you're giving a lot. And maybe you should think from that perspective instead of thinking of it all being a big attack on your person. Just going to lay that on the ground before we go on. There are some extra levels, however. There are a few bonus missions. One is, do you want to play the game, the first episode, exclusively with bombs? Crisis in Colombia, if I recall correctly, is some sort of demo version of the game. No, that's a demo version of one of the levels. I forgot which one. It's the one with the garage and everything. I don't know the names on the top of my head. What was Queen of the Hill again? Oh, that was just the King of the Hill level. Oh, that's the only weapon I get, huh? Oh my, that is quite the daring idea. Quite. But there we go. Ion Fury, is it worth your money? Probably. If you enjoy these kinds of games, then you're going to get your money's worth. If not, probably not, I'm afraid. Simple as that, really. You know, Bombshell's a really weird nickname to give a lady, even with the context removed. Oh my. I've only been alive for 6 months. Ooh. Permanent. Am I the good guys? These are actually some pretty good tips, all things considered. What are they cultists of, though? Hesco isn't a cult. He's just trying to take over the tri-state area. There's nothing about him that screams skull to me. Also, apparently there's... Oh, that's just that. Great. Delightful. See you guys next time. Whatever we'll do, we'll do. But don't expect to see me back too soon.